What a game in Iowa City as the Hawkeyes almost worked their formula to perfection against top 5 teams at home, falling in the final second to Penn State 21-19. Yes, this was a big statement for Penn State and a big step toward winning the Big Ten championship and defending its crown. Also a big statement game for Saquon Barkley toward hoisting the Heisman Trophy. But it was the Hawkeyes that also impressed in this game. That was a fascinating football game to watch start to finish, like many college football games we see across the nation, especially in the conferences that play defense. Slow start, still a fascinating game if you love defense and hard-hitting football, but explosive offensive plays at the end to make the difference. Mark Rogers TV, instant analysis of Penn State, Iowa. If you join me here on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you hear from the best bloggers and broadcasters in college football, including instant analysis from myself, and of course the audio versions on Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes. Well, let's take you through tons of notes here. Iowa's front seven was amazing the entire game. They played the entire first half in its own end. Iowa was backed up against its own goal line because of anemic offensive play, but also because of the field position game played by Penn State, and the Penn State offense moving the ball but not being able to make the key conversions against a very tough Iowa defense. Probably a more explosive Iowa defense when you look at the defensive end position and speed at linebacker and the playmaking ability of the Hawkeyes than we've seen in quite some time. They're always strong in the front seven, but they have explosive defensive backs beyond what we've seen in recent years from Desmond King in particular. Josie Jewell, Anthony Nelson batting passes down. Of course, A.J. Espinosa had a strip sack late in the game that Josie Jewell recovered for a fumble. Also a play off the edge that turned into an interception by Josie Jewell. All these plays by the Iowa defense kept them in the football game despite the yardage totals being completely lopsided. At one point it was 182 Penn State, 19 for Iowa. It was 211-54 at halftime. Penn State punted down to the 1-yard line. They had a 3-0 lead at this point in the second quarter. Torrance Brown made a tremendous play on it. Akram Wadley in the end zone to force the safety to make it 5-0. Amani Hooker made a tremendous play in the defensive backfield for Iowa to stop a 4th down conversion to keep the game close within 5-0 at that point, and not letting Penn State get away from Iowa. So the Hawkeyes defense did a tremendous job. We mentioned Sam Grant with the just blow by the right tackle, Andrew Nelson, who was a substitution at some point in the game, as mentioned by James Franklin after the game. Josie Jewell with the interception, and that really ignited the Hawkeyes and gave their offense some field position and got them to work. Jewell takes it down to the 21. Stanley hit Nick Easley, his favorite target. Beautifully thrown football, jumping catch, 7-5 game. That's how we hit halftime, and Iowa only had 54 yards at half, and they led 7-5. This was the perfect Iowa formula for most of the game. Akram Wadley fumbled when Iowa was finally moving the ball down the field. Penn State recovers. They turned that into a touchdown as Saquon Barkley on the very next play after the Wadley fumble goes for 38 yards. And if you didn't see the game tonight, you've got to, and I'm sure you've seen Saquon do his thing and show his magic in the past, the Rose Bowl last year and all throughout the 2016 season. But watch the highlights. He was amazing. He set a Penn State school record for total yardage, kick returns, receiving, and about 211 rushing yards. But again, Iowa on defense. Note the 2 cornerbacks for the Hawkeyes, Josh Jackson, number 15, and number 5, Manny Rugamba, are tremendous players. They locked up Penn State's wide receivers most of the night. So it was back and forth, but Penn State typically had a 1-score lead until Akram Wadley got loose with 10 minutes left, ripped off a 70-yard TD reception. It was a beautifully conceived play against the blitz as Wadley snuck behind the linebackers, grabbed it, and then he did his open field magic, so it wasn't all Barkley. Akron Wadley said, hey, I'm here too. I'm one of the best backs in the Big Ten, if not the nation. He went 70 yards to make it 15-13 at that point. And then the later score and the Iowa blocked field goal kept them within one score. And Wadley again scores a touchdown to make it 19-15 before Penn State marches down the field in the final 2 minutes of the game. And it was 2 McSorley passes to Saeed Blacknall. There was a 4th down play inside the Iowa 10-yard line in which they converted for the first down. And then the final play of the game, you got to see it. Trace McSorley off his back foot, threaded the needle to Blacknall, got the football placed just over the safety's hands, his fingertips, for the game-winning touchdown, 21-19, final play of the game. Penn State survives. Iowa, the Hawkeyes, fall to 3-1. That was the Big Ten opener for both teams. Penn State still in the running for a college football playoff berth and, of course, a Big Ten championship. We will hear more from the Hawkeyes, I'm sure, in the Big Ten Western Division. Ohio State has to travel to Iowa City in the next 4 or 5 weeks. That should be an interesting ball game as well. Mark Rogers TV talking up Iowa, Penn State. Need to hear from you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, right here on Mark Rogers TV.